thank you, man, for your time. I really appreciate it. AGT from East Tennessee, the world of country, huh?
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Yep.
Thank you. What's it? Rob and I were from Philadelphia, up east. What's it like growing up in Tennessee? Are you just embedded in country? Like here in Florida, if you don't have a dog, you're a loser. You're a straight loser if you don't have a dog here. In my mind, if I don't have a guitar and can't play in Tennessee, I'm a straight loser.
I don't know if it's quite that far as a guitar, but definitely, I mean, country music as a kid, man, that's just part of life, you know.
Yeah, I just know Tennessee for country and hair restoration. We had this guy in
Yeah.
Matt Cox, and he got his hair done.
Is
It
that where I
lasted,
got that?
yeah, it lasted 12 years. I wrote it down. Nashville,
Dang.
Tennessee. Yeah,
Wow.
definitely. Pull up tab 2.
Yep.
So your album, man, I really like the song Rain. We have
Oh
it
yeah.
up, yeah, we have it up here. It's hard to do it on Zoom, but you'll see it in post. What was Rain about?
Man, it was kind of a reflection of I had been in town for about 5.5 years and had really nothing to show for it. And I finally got, I guess, what you'd call my first break. I got a chance to send 4 songs blindly to an email address that Garth Brooks was supposedly listening to songs for his new record at that time. And I sent 4 songs. He didn't know me from Adam, and I thought, well, that's cool. I got to send them. That's pretty neat. And he ended up emailing me back about a week later,
Wow.
and that started a relationship. And you can imagine how excited I was. And I wrote so many songs during that period because I was so just pumped, you know. And I wrote that one because it was just such a kind of a dark tunnel I just walked through, you know. And I was kind of reflecting on all those times that, you know, I knew I had to keep going, but I didn't know why, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those ones you put on in the car on a long ride, and you just sit back, put the seat back a little bit, and just go. Right?
Yeah,
Nah, it's cool, man. So wow, what's the best place to download everything to get your music, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you can stream it anywhere, and then downloads. As far as if you just want to download it, iTunes is always a solid option for sure. But really, it's everywhere. As far as I know, there's not a platform that it's not on. So
Now, growing up, Mitch, I grew up in Pennsylvania. My mom, big country music fan, and I hated country music as a kid. Hated it. I'm like, oh, she's listening to Conway Twitty and that, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I think I hit high school, and like country music, I was like, wow, this ain't too bad. Like, and
yeah,
it has, there's stories to all the songs, whether it's about your dog and your pickup truck, but it has meaning. What does country music mean to you? We know the story, we're going to get to it, but what does country music mean to you?
yeah, I think you said it, man. I think what country music is for me is stories, and it's real life. It's things that I think it's for just the common person. And when I say common person, it doesn't mean you have to, be a blue collar worker, but just anyone who's down to earth, trying to, be a good person, raise a good family, be a good husband, be a good wife, be a good mom, be a good dad, any of those things, be a good brother, whatever. It's just for good, just kind of down to earth people, I think, that want to hear about real life. And that's where the soul of it is. I think, over the years, it's really ventured off into another space a little bit for me, that I think, doesn't really, to me, it doesn't identify as necessarily country music anymore in a lot of ways. But there's still a lot of good stuff out there too, telling stories and all that. So,
and I have noticed that country and NASCAR, they usually don't get involved in all the BS. It just seems that way,
To try to
try not to, or you just got the biggest crowds no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I hear you on that.
And before all this, you were playing baseball, and you're really good at golf. Didn't you win 3 tournaments in a year?
Yeah, so I started playing when I was about 15, and before I was 16, I won a few tournaments and got pretty good pretty quick. And I was always that way. I was real obsessive about everything I got into, so I was that way with golf. And but the problem was I would get obsessive and then I'd burn out. So I quit a couple years after I started, and then just started back about I don't know, 7, 8 years ago.
Oh boy, you're back on the golf course. Oh boy,
it's my only hobby, dude. I got 3 kids. I don't have time for hobbies, but that's like the only thing I get to do. That's
and you get some peace out there too.
Oh, it's awesome, man. And my oldest son is like a freaking prodigy. No joke. He's
That's awesome.
unbelievable.
Really?
He's sh- he's
See, I'm a
shooting the
good
seven.
driver. He's shooting a 7. How old's your kid?
Yeah, he's shot under par on 18 holes.
Ooh,
He's 7 years old.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
whoa.
he's
Yeah.
remarkably good, and so it's been fun because now I got an excuse to go out there and not just for me. You know, it's like,
I was
honey,
gonna
I got to take him.
I was gonna
You
say
got to practice.
maybe we'll get you in person one of these days. You come down to South Florida. We've got golf courses everywhere. I mean,
Oh, dude,
everywhere.
yeah.
Everywhere.
That's the
You,
Mecca.
you better take the limelight before your kid's about
Right.
five more years. You're going to be nobody.
Right.
He's going to
I
have.
know,
He's
dude,
going to be the
that's
guy.
my goal.
Right.
It's a running joke at the golf course we play at. People know, they've seen me play shows and stuff, and I've got a lot of great supporters and fans over there, and they always joke that I'm Rivers' dad instead of Mitch. I'm Rivers' dad.
That's
He's the
awesome.
real star. So
That's so cool,
That's
man.
awesome.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
And when you're doing, the golf and it just wasn't filling the void in a sense. You had listened to country, and I had read that your mom wasn't into country. Your dad was. Your mom was into like Matchbox. Did your dad just roll his eyes when your mom would put on pop?
So my mom and dad, they were divorced when I was like a year and a half. So it was kind of two different worlds. Like my dad pretty much only listened to country, a little bit other stuff, mainly country. And then my mom, she listened to some country, but she listened to a lot of other stuff. She listened to, like you said, Matchbox 20 and Third Eye Blind and all that stuff that was popular in the 90s. And, even like some like Aerosmith and just stuff like that. And so I got a lot of good, like diverse stuff, growing up. And, but I always just gravitated towards country music, until I went through my like, rebellious late middle school, early high school years.
Yeah.
What were you listening to then?
Man, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, literally from freaking, hard rock to rap to R&B to,
Yeah.
folk to what I listen to all kinds of stuff. Everything but country. I kind of like, I kind of rebelled against just everything that I ever knew. And when I went to college, I I left home. I didn't know a soul where I went. And when I got there, I started meeting friends and stuff, and they'd all mess with me about my accent, and they started calling me Tennessee. That was my nickname. And that was a moment where it really just clicked for me. It's like, you're damn right. I'm proud of that, and then I just got back into my roots and started listening to country music again, and just kind of got back to who I was, and it was just a real full circle moment.
And found yourself.
That's awesome.
And then, not to, I'm sure you've talked about this 100 million times, but, they call it a freak accident. I call it a little bit more than a freak accident. When I had first read it and heard about it, I really thought it was like almost a trailer to a movie or not real. The chances of what had happened is just unbelievable. Your father's on the road with your grandmother-in-law and the road on the other side, and they just head-on collision.
Yep. Yeah, it was a small town, but yeah, my dad was with my she was kind of who I knew. She was like a second mom to me because my dad lived with her for years when he was struggling financially and stuff, and she just was always there. She was always just very supportive of him and just to help take care of me. And so technically it was his second wife's mom. And when they got divorced, they just stayed close. They just always were close and good friends. And so yeah, she helped him start his business. She was in the van with him, his work van. And they had just come back. They were coming back from a job, and they were on a 2-lane highway. And my grandfather was in his truck coming the other way. And the drunk driver hit my grandfather's truck from behind, and it sent him out of control into my dad's lane. And they just so happened to be passing each other and hit head on and killed my grandfather and my grandmother-in-law and my dad. Same crash.
And how old were you?
That,
how old were you at the time when this happened?
This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you're always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever the opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part? It's all done online. So no visits to the doctor's office, awkward conversations, waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. Does it work? Don't think you need it? Try it free for a month and see. You're going to love it. You could be missing the best sex of your life. They say there's nothing sexier than confidence, and Blue Chew can help give you the confidence where it counts. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use the promo code MSCS at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code MSCS to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I have to make a choice, either a great night or a great next day. That is, until I found Z-Biotics. We all have busy lives these days and can't afford to waste a day stuck on the couch because of a few drinks the night before. Z-Biotics is the answer we've all been looking for. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic is the first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Just remember to drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's of sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Order Z-Biotics now for your summertime barbecue, weddings, vacations, you name it. Go to zbiotics.com/MSCSmedia or scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use MSCS Media checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code, so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're ever unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, head to zbiotics.com/MSCSmedia, use the code MSCSmedia at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, Z-Biotics, for sponsoring this episode.
I was 10 at the time. Yeah,
now, do you think if you were older, it would have been easier to deal with, or do you think if you were older, it would have been harder to deal with?
It's hard to say. I think that knowing what I know now, growing up, having kids of my own, I think I was at probably the worst age because you're old enough to fully understand what's happening and fully have a relationship with my dad, but you're not through those really crucial years that you just need a dad, like you really need a dad through those late middle school, early high school years. You need a dad, period. But if you're going to, if I was going to pick a time, I think it probably would have been, I hate to even say easier because that sounds like I might be, if someone else is going through that, I'm not trying to say, it sucks no matter when it happens. It's horrible. But I think just for your development and like your overall just chance of being remotely healthy as an adult, I think obviously if you can get through those years, those teenage years, it'd be pretty helpful for sure.
And for all the people listening and watching, whether it's a death or just going through a hard time and they want to give up, and you didn't, and you're proof that you didn't, what's like a good one-liner just that you could spit out that, when somebody's having that tough time and they're ready, they, the one-liners that just pop in the head, like, keep swinging, something like that.
Man, I always loved, because I don't know, I haven't been through as much as a ton of people, but I've been through a decent bit in my life, and one thing that always stuck with me, and there's actually a book about it, but tough times don't last, tough people do.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. And then you start really going at it with the guitar. You're in college, you learn it, and then you get known as a songwriter, right? Because you're doing, weekend gigs, shows, and then you really, really excel with the songwriting.
Yeah, that was kind of my first, real success was as a songwriter, with Garth, and then he was gracious enough to let me come open some shows and stuff, and he believed in me from the very beginning as an artist. He kind of heard it from day one, and he was always, from day one till now, he's never wavered in his support and belief in me as an artist. So it's been pretty amazing, and he exposed me to a lot of other people too that have become fans, and just the fan base has continued to grow. It's been really amazing. Just
So what's that like opening up for Garth Brooks?
Right.
You send him like a wild email, you're just happy you got the right email. And next thing you know,
Yeah, no doubt.
here you are opening up. Like you're telling to the town, hey, I emailed Garth Brooks.
And they're probably like, bullshit.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
You emailed a robot.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, when I tell the story, I always say, I'm like, look, when I tell you this story, you're gonna kind of go, really, like that really happened, because it's so just dumb. Like it's dumb that it even like I can't even believe it's real, But he listens to the stuff, man. He's a freak. He's a freak of nature. I've never met anybody like that dude. He is. I swear he's not human.
Why do you say that? Like give us some examples.
He just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes, and you're just going, I'm half his age, and I'm going, I'd be laid up and over on the side of the freaking room right now, passed out, like he just goes, man. And the fact he listens to all those songs that were sent to him, that's the only way he would have heard my stuff. I mean, there's no telling how many songs that dude was getting. He listened, at least listens to a little bit, enough to where he can go, yeah, pass, or hey, this is intriguing, whatever. But man.
And what was one of the first conversations once you sent that email to him? You got a reply back, like actual hearing his voice. What did he say to you? Like what was said to you?
So one of the first calls he made, which he's so funny because he truly is he's a classy guy, and he's humble, and he's he's just consistent. And it's consistently that way. But he went to his first meeting as a signed artist at Sony. That was the first deal he did when he came back to try to get back in the game. And the president of Sony's was a guy named Gary Overton at the time. And rumor has it that when he walked into the meeting, he shook Gary's hand and shook everybody's hand and said hello. And then he leaned over to Gary and goes, hey, I got this kid you got to hear. And that was like the first thing he said to him. So it's like,
wow,
not, hey, I've got these plans for my album, not about me, but like, I got this kid I want you to hear. So apparently after that meeting, he wanted Gary to meet with me. So he called me to tell me about it. And he's like, hey, Mitch, this is Garth. And I'm thinking, yeah, no shit. And he's like, you got a sec? I'm like, of course I've got a sec. Like, I'm good. I'll draw whatever I'm doing, And he goes, hey, guy named Gary Overton over here at Sony. He runs the label, and I've been telling him about you. Would you be open to coming down and meeting with him? And I was like,
no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So let me check my schedule, but I think
too busy right now.
I think I can work it in, And I was like, I don't know, a month from now on that Monday. Of course, man, I'm in, And so that was like one of the first, on the phone, hearing his voice and just thinking,
that's
holy
crazy.
Crap.
Yeah, one of the first, and it's not just talking to him, it's saying, hey, come to Sony. Right. I've been telling Sony about it.
Right.
Yeah, it was nuts, man.
And then what's that crowd like when you open up for him? I mean, what is that crowd? I mean, that's years and years and generations of people.
Yeah, it really is, man. And the gift that he gave me to do that is just all the gifts he's given me, I can never repay him for. I thank him emphatically. He's probably sick of hearing me say thank you, but I just feel so unworthy of all of it because he built that. You know what I mean? I bring nothing to that show. He doesn't need me. He chooses. He wants me out there. He doesn't need me to sell tickets. Right. I'm not going to sell tickets. You know what I mean? I might sell 10. You know what I mean? Friends. So it's like, he doesn't need me. He wants me out there. And it's like,
that's the best, right? That's the best. When you're wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, what a gift that he doesn't owe me at all. And also, on top of all that, just when you think he can't be any cooler of a dude, he will not send you out there to a half full place.
Really?
He's held me before for over an hour from show start.
Wow.
Just to make sure there was enough of a crowd in there before he'd send me out. You think any other artists are doing that?
Hell no.
There ain't many. I can tell you that.
That's an artist that cares about you. Right. He cares about you.
Just a class act, man.
Class act.
Yeah.
And then I had seen that you got into some film.
Oh gosh, man, what is it? The last couple interviews I've done, man, you guys have dug some stuff up that I wanted to stay buried, I think.
All right, next one.
No, it wasn't anything with them. It was just more like I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I probably look like an idiot, but I think I did a couple things with a gentleman down in Georgia, and they did some cool films, but I was just flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah,
So,
you're just on top of the world. And then how did the AGT come about?
So
what do they call it?
AGT.
AGT now. Now it's not AGTV. AGT.
AGT.
Okay.
AGT. Yeah.
It was
So,
AGTV. Or no?
Was it?
I
Okay.
don't know.
So they reached out and just asked if we'd be willing to come do an audition because they heard my song "Son," and I was reluctant at first. I've been asked over the years to do the auditions for those shows. Almost every year, at least one of them has reached out and said, "Hey, we'd love for you to audition," and very flattered by that. But I never felt like it was the right fit for me, so I just never did it. But when they reached out this time, the song it wasn't about me. It was about the song. It was like I want this song to be heard. So I talked to my manager and I was like, "Hey, normally I've just kind of passed on this stuff, but I really feel like this might be an opportunity to get this song heard, and it deserves to be heard." So turned out to be a real blessing, and glad they reached out.
Yeah, and I had read, with a song like that, you think, well, if this would happen to hit, I'm gonna have to sing this over and over and over, and so that's you got to have a lot of cojones to put that out, and then if it hits, that's gonna be your song that you got to constantly sing, but your son's in it and so forth. So I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, I didn't think that part through, boys. I've been at a couple of shows and I'm like, man, I've said that. I've been like, man, I didn't think about this. If this thing does well and people love it, I might have to play it every night. So
now
it's going to be a challenge some nights.
The prep going into that, like you're going to be on the show, right? You know what song you're going to be performing. You know the emotions it's going to bring to you. What was it like? I mean, I know they did the tape thing first. They told the story, they taped that, and then, you come on stage and Simon's there and they're all there. What did you feel the second they're like, go ahead? Like, what went through you?
It's definitely nerve-wracking because it's, you play a show, even a stadium. I mean, I've played for 100,000 people. So, yeah, it's nerve-wracking. But you're still confined to the space. And even if they may take a video of you messing up or something, like, yeah, it might have a viral moment or whatever. But typically, there's not going to be more than that. Those amount of people, or maybe a few more that see it. Whereas, like, television, it's like millions of people, and it lives forever. Like they replay it, they re-air it. It's like, dude, that's a lot of people watching you. So it's like you get one chance. It's pretty nerve-wracking. And I'd never really done television anywhere near that level before. So it was like the audition, I wasn't as nervous because the presence of the cameras isn't as obvious, and it is way more raw. You just got to plug in and set the mic up and go, And so thankfully all the years of my experience probably helped me, to really get through all those performances. But the live performance, man, that was nerve-wracking because you got all these camera cues that you're trying to remember. It's live television. So if you screw up, you fall down and slam your face off the ground, like you're doing it in front of like
I forgot it's live. So when you say camera cues, what do you mean camera cues?
Well, like we rehearse a couple of times. That's the thing. You rehearse, but you don't actually get to rehearse on stage until like the day or two before. And it's only, they're bringing in, more people, and it's really, you get a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you don't really get a ton of opportunity to really, really rehearse deeply. And it's television, so they're going, hey, you need some movement. Why don't you move over here? You're going to have a camera here. Do you want to look here at this part of the song? Look here at this part of the song. Make sure you're engaging with the audience at home, because it's not just this audience. It's people at home watching too.
That's a lot to think about, man.
Yeah, so you're trying to think about all that. And then I had in-ears in, which I freaking hate in-ears. I can't sing with in-ears. Like I can't. It's weird. So everybody's different, but some people are great with them. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people, like if they go in the studio, they take one ear off. I'm the same way. I do vocals with one ear off. Because if I have both ears plugged, I can't. I'm always pitchy and it's weird.
Right.
So I was uncomfortable with that. And just there's a lot of factors where I'm going, man, this is a great learning experience, because next time
It'll be a
I'm gonna make
cakewalk,
sure,
right? Because
I'm gonna make sure that I'm more ready, So
that sounds like a nightmare. Because
Yeah.
first
It's
you're
a
just
lot.
trying to sing the song right and do well, yet alone look at cues and look this way and that way and all over the place.
And what was the typical, what was that day like? So, you know, you don't have to go what you ate for breakfast, but, you know, you're up early, your nerves are going, you know, you have to be at the studio or the stage at this, like, tell me about that day.
Yeah, I think I wasn't like deathly nervous throughout the day or anything, and I never got like crazy nervous, but I was nervous once we got on stage. I think doing so many shows and stuff that I've done,
Yeah.
I kind of wake up with the same mindset. You're a little bit, you're like kind of like a little giddy and anxious, but you're not. It's not like the first time Gar said, "Hey, I'm flying you out tomorrow, and you're up in front of 18,000 people," and I've been
Right.
playing airport bars. That was
That was
terrifying.
that was
Yeah, but just through the years of playing all the shows I've played on the stages I've been blessed to play on, it prepared me a lot more, I think, than probably a lot of people that are having to do that. And I don't know how they do it. I mean, they do a great job, a lot of those folks, and they've never played big shows. But but yeah, just getting there, the build up is definitely, it gets more and more intense as you're going, and that you again, you have one shot, and it's all fan voted, and it's just a lot of pressure. And you mentioned like all the things you got to remember. Well, on top of all that, they change your song. You don't have time to do a 4-minute song. You got 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Oh,
So I shortened the song, and it was cut in different spots. And so like
you got
I've
to
been
remember
singing
that
the same
too.
way for 5 years or however many years, and
Right.
now all of a sudden I'm changing. So you're trying to remember all that stuff, and so it was more just me being focused and trying to like rehearse those parts and the things I was doing different to make sure that I had it kind of drilled in. So
And then when you're done singing and you're standing there and you're looking at like Simon,
yeah.
that to me that just would feel like the
Howie.
most Howie with his germs.
Yeah.
What would be the most uncomfortable standing moment ever.
yeah, that's not as bad because you at least are like engaging with people. The standing while they're announcing who's going through, where you're standing on the circles,
Yeah.
that can be a little awkward because you're just like, you're not really,
Like,
you're just basically, they're like doing this dramatic pause, and you're trying to look not like an idiot on TV, and it's just kind of awkward. But yeah, waiting for them is more just kind of, you're a little nervous because you're like, you want them to like your stuff, you want them to like your performance, and you want them to say positive things because it could influence people at home. So I was lucky and blessed that all my the 2 performances I did, everybody was real positive. I didn't have any criticism at all. So
Now I remember watching. My wife loves AGT, so I remember watching, and I don't believe I saw your part, and then she's telling me about it. I'm like, oh my God. And then literally, I mean, you must have just got done. It was just live on TV, and social media just lit up, like Twitter. I mean, seriously, it was all over the place. This song, this guy, oh, it'd make you cry. It's going through all this type of stuff. What was that like for you? Because for me, I'm like, holy shit, I can't imagine. Like, you go from, I know Garth Brooks and all that, but you go from like Mitch to like Mitch.
Yeah.
Fast. What was that like?
Like Mitch with Garth to
Right.
Mitch.
To Mitch. Like, what was that like?
oh man, it was surreal. I mean, because TV is so powerful. I mean, it's definitely the most powerful like medium we have for anything in terms of art, especially. But especially like the coolest part for me was, getting more fans is amazing. The attention's great. It's it feels good. All that stuff feels good. But I've been doing this long enough to know, like, you can't hang your hat on those things because they're shifting all the time. You got to like stay in what's real, And I always try to focus on the ways that, like, God's given me a gift. How am I using it? How am I bettering people's lives? Not about me. How do I make it about other people? And so for me, like, one of my dreams with the song "Son" was that it would like reestablish relationships between family members. Like fathers and sons, moms and daughters, whoever. Dude, I got so many messages, man, like of people just saying, I'm literally like I'm bawling my eyes out right now. I just called my dad for the first time in 2 years.
Wow.
We talked for 20 minutes. Thank you for this song. I don't know if I would have reached out otherwise. All these things where I'm going, like this is exactly what I envisioned for this song, and
And
it's
the song
just
that you debated, coming
Right.
out with, and you did, and it worked the way you wanted.
That's
yeah, yeah, it's
And you
pretty
can't buy
surreal.
that, right? You can't buy that. That's something you can't buy when you save somebody, and especially with a song like that then really saves somebody's life or who knows what. You never know out there.
Amen, brother. Yeah, that's what it's really truly all about at the end of the day. I mean, I got to make a living, and so I can get lost in some of that stuff sometimes, the business part of it, but it always recenters me to get one of those stories sent to me, of just, I've got a song called A Soldier's Memoir, and man, I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many people have reached out and said, man, this saved my life. And I'm thinking, it saved your, like, how, that's insane to me. Like, I don't know how I could write down something, put a melody to it, and it literally changed someone's life. And I'm just going, only God could gift that through me. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pleasure to be used in that way. It really is.
And it's really cool that you don't get caught up in the moments because that's what I see destroys people when they get caught up with that one moment, but that's just for that month, week, or whatever.
Yeah. Especially in today's world, man. People
Oh,
are on
yeah, they got
LinkedIn,
about
so
3 second
it's a
attention span.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a fight to stay relevant. Which I don't know. I quit. I've stopped fighting. I'm just gonna be me, and
Just be you.
I'll keep the people that really want to listen. And if that gets huge one day, great. Let's make it huge. But if it doesn't, that's okay. I'm just gonna keep doing what I do.
Now, with that in ear, right? Now, does that play the lyrics and the instrumental or just the instrumental? I always wanted to know that.
No, so in ears, all that is just so you can hear everything. So I can hear the music, and I can hear my vocal on the mic.
In your
So there's a
ear.
lot, there's a live
Oh,
vocal and everything. There's no lyrics coming through my nothing like that. It's just my vocal coming in here. But when you imagine your vocal straight into your ears, like it's just a weird feeling. It feels like you're isolated. It's hard to explain. You just I don't
Almost
know.
like
It's
us
not
right
for
now.
me.
It's the same.
yeah, but like you said, I always see at concerts that at some point
They'll
there's
pull it out.
pull one out
Pull out.
all the
Yeah.
time, and I always wonder,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that
because it's really it
like
can get weird, and you start to feel like you're pitchy, and it's terrifying. If you ever see someone doing that, an artist,
yeah.
Yeah.
know in that moment they are very uncomfortable. They may not show it because they're professionals, and we've learned to always keep this the same. But when they do this and they're pulling it, that means that something's weird, and they feel like they can't find the pitch because it's too here. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we weren't meant to sing
Right into
like
your.
that. We
Yeah.
were meant to sing where we can hear the ambience of that, the music and everything. And so when you put those things in, it's like,
I couldn't do it
oh,
because right now we're just talking at a normal tone. If you were here, and then we're just all engaged in just this. But to sing and hear myself and
Yeah.
go to a pitch, that would like shatter my brain. I'd adjust things and go from number 20 to
yeah.
7,050 and be in a box.
Yeah,
That's
it's
probably what would
it's
happen
a
to me.
weird feeling. Some people can do it great. They have no problems with it, and they just sail right on through. But there's a lot of people that struggle with it, and I'm definitely one of them.
Now, who I know Garth Brooks, I'm sure, is up there on your list, but who are some of the guys that you really looked up to, or maybe still look up to, country music wise?
Man, yeah, Garth is definitely at the top. I love all that '90s country stuff, man. How can you not love George Strait?
Kenny
Um,
Chesney.
Chesney, man,
Yeah.
great songs. McGraw, great
McGraw.
songs.
Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson, great songs. Um, Man, golly,
A
Don
lot.
Williams is one of my favorites. He's a little older. I just always loved his stuff. Shoot, off the
When
top of my head, I know later I'm gonna go, oh crap.
Yeah.
that was the one. When you go to write, some people write in silence, late at night, morning, paper, phone. How do you write? Do you use a pen and paper, pencil paper? Do you do it on your phone, talk into it? How do you write?
I've done all that,
Oh,
man.
it's everything.
I've written at 7 a.m. I've written at 2 in the morning. I've done it in my phone. I record ideas in my phone. I've typed it out on my phone. I've typed it on iPads. I've written it. I've memorized it. I've done it all.
And are you
So,
are you doing it the minute you get, like, you're just sitting there right now, right after this podcast, and maybe you're like, oh man, I should write about, and you'll just put it right down then and there so you don't forget it, or no?
the idea, yeah. If I get a great idea, I'll definitely do that, and I'll kind of record a melody that might fit it or whatever, and just get it as much of the thought out as I can, because you might, in 2 or 3 days, you might go, how was I seeing that? Like,
Right.
I know I see the idea here, but what was I thinking for that? So you have to really make sure you get out your perspective on what you have, you know?
I've had a lot of those on drunken nights where I'm like, I'm gonna make $1 million with this idea, and then I wake up the next day and I'm like, fuck, what was it? And if I wrote it down, we would be fine. I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Can you write it down, Rob?
I keep forgetting. So
Maybe we'll write it down.
all right.
Mitch, maybe we'll write it down one of these days.
There's been times where I'm laying in bed and I'm like almost asleep, and I'll have like a great idea, and I'm so tired I don't want to get up, and I have sometimes not gotten up, and the next day I'm like,
Fuck.
no,
Yeah.
what was that idea? So now like I'll just get up and I'm like, I'm not gonna. Then that takes me another hour to fall back asleep, but at least I got the idea down. So
Because
Yeah.
your songs are very lyrical. I mean, country is in general, but you're very lyrical. So you have an idea, say a clock, and for whatever reason, the clock is the clock. You write the clock down. Then you add the clock was, in the house at night, and this happened. Is it always kind of the story first and then the melody, or sometimes it's the melody then you add the story to it?
I think the way I usually write, if I'm just writing by myself, I like to start with a great hook, which is that turn on the phrase. I love to take something and just turn it, make you go, oh wow, that's cool how I did that. So that's one of my favorite things. I had a guy that used to call me the hooky monster, 'cause that's like, I'm obsessed with making those hooks. You know what I mean? There's probably a lot of people a lot better at it than me, so probably not a good nickname, but that's what I like to do. So I start there, and then usually for me, then I go straight into a melody, and sometimes I'll do the chorus. Like if I'm really just feeling inspired, it's really where the inspiration's at. It's like sometimes that inspiration feels like, man, I want to play a verse like this to that idea, and then I'll start humming a thing, and I'll start coming up with lines. You know what I mean? Or I'll start humming the chorus melody and trying to figure that out. Where's it going? How does it land on that hook? Right backwards a little bit. It can be different depending on what the idea is.
And the most important thing is the hook. The thing that everybody remembers, it plays in your head, and then you want to play it again and again and again. Or would that be the chorus? What's that in country? So what's the one,
Well,
like if I think of Kenny Chesney, you had me from hello, like that's what I remember,
yeah. So that's the hook. The more traditional country thing is that it's the hook at the beginning or the end of the chorus, or sometimes both. Usually the end of the chorus. The hook in pop can mean more like a melodic thing, where it's like the same phrase over and over, and it's the melody's real catchy, so that's hooky. It hooks you in, like it's the thing you sing in your head over and over. Of course, in a lot of modern country, they can have those things too, the little oh-ohs, whoas, or whatever they do, But traditionally, the hook in country music is that lyrical phrase that makes you go, oh, wow, that's cool, or oh, man, they turned it this way, or oh, they took the phrase, I don't know.
whatever, and turned it in. Yeah.
Uncommon of course, there's like a billion songs written. Heck, I've written. Okay, I just played one the other day called, it's an old song that I wrote called Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em.
You hear that and you're thinking card game. Well, I wrote it about a guy losing his family, and they left, and he's trying to catch them on the interstates, and he's praying for Texas to hold them because he's afraid if they get out of Texas, they won't.
Oh, cool. That's see, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's like stuff like that where you take something and you make it something else.
Has autotune, like that autotune, has that hit country a lot? Because I swear some country I hear, it isn't what I heard 10 years ago.
Oh, bro, everything's autotune now.
I mean, they're putting it in heavy, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's like now autotune's become like a sound. Like it's almost like if you put a record out without autotune, it sounds different. And a lot of people are put off by it because they're so used to hearing stuff on the radio that is all auto-tuned.
All auto-tune. Like, I can't sing, obviously. If I went in with the right auto-tune guy, couldn't that auto-tune make me sound pretty damn good?
It can make you sound like tonally. It can help you, but as far as pitch, yeah, I mean, it can. Yeah, it can make your pitch perfect. You know.
I didn't think
So-
that'd ever go to country. I thought it would stay away, but it hits everything. It's
Like,
money.
man.
It's money is cheaper,
Yeah,
right?
let's-
You know, it's money
That's
they're
right.
killing. So I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
So now,
That's-
when you're done with AGT, how always
AGT.
it's because of Howard Stern. Asked him. When you're done with that and you have all that momentum, then where do you go with that? You know, how do you balance everything out?
That's a good question, man. I'm still trying to figure that out. Honestly, I think social media makes it tough too, because man, those algorithms are always changing. You know, we just noticed recently, Facebook. I've got like 173,000 followers on Facebook. They're all real, organic. I've never paid for any of that stuff. And man, we usually post, and you know, a kind of a more mild post that doesn't get as much engagement, we'd still usually get 1,000 likes or something, you know, and 100 to 200 comments, whatever. And then we get, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or up 1,000 likes on a lot of stuff, you know, that we post. And man, all of a sudden, like a light switch flipped about 2 weeks ago. Everything we post, 200 to 300 likes out of nowhere.
Well, see, they have that switch.
Yeah, they.
Oh, yeah, no,
it's
Yeah.
maddening,
Man. Like, it's maddening. So you're sitting there going, you know, I'm winning over these people to become at least introductory fans all the way up to full-blown followers. And like, I can't even reach them.
Yeah, because
what's the point of following my page? I can't reach any of them.
Right.
That's insane.
So it's like, what? Why even have this? Why have these followers on here? Because
do you know
it doesn't-
why? Like, do you have any idea why? Like, any song you could think of that whatever would have pissed them off that they're getting
Yeah.
paid,
Right,
paid
yeah.
to knock it down, and that they're afraid that you might
No.
influence somebody a different way.
No, I don't think it's that. This has happened before, where it just kind of like randomly the bottom just falls out for a little while, and I think it's just because they changed like the priorities. You have to figure out what posts they're looking for. So like, we do a lot of videos. Well, videos may not be in right now.
Yeah, we had
like posts or whatever, you know.
we had Dr. Robert Epstein in, who's like really following all this, like beyond like brain comprehension of the normal person.
Yeah.
And he was telling us last week or the week before that say they're not selling enough ads for whatever reason. Just like anything else, they can turn that clock a little bit up to where, you know, instead of 8,000 likes, you know, they turn the clock up to point it to where all the 50,000 likes are, you know, just because of the quota or whatever
Whatever
they're,
they do.
whatever craziness they're doing that day or week, you know, but that is crazy. You know, how do you have that?
No, I could certainly
nuts.
see that, man. Look, at the end of the day, it's a business they're running. So, they know that for all of us, like the dopamine hit is real,
Yep.
Right.
and we want people to like. Now, obviously I've got more of a handle on that now that I'm older and a little perspective, but I think they realize, you know, hey, we're going to let him reach all these people, and he's going to get used to getting this engagement, and then all of a sudden he's just not going to get it, and he's going to start getting frustrated, and then he's going to start boosting his posts.
He's
you know,
going to
trying
start
reach
buying ads. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which little news flash for them.
No, thank you.
Ain't gonna happen.
Nope. Absolutely.
Ain't gonna happen.
Nope. Me neither. You're not getting a cent from me
No.
with that overbilling.
I'm already giving you free content.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm
that's where
making
it stops.
people come to your page. What are you gonna?
Yeah.
Right.
When you think about that, right? You go on
Yeah,
AGT. You know, you go in there. You do everything you do. You're bringing them. You know, they need you.
Business. Right. Right.
I don't know if they need me, but
No, I know.
I'm not paying for anything. I know that.
So out in Tennessee, in Philly, we have pizza, cheesesteak. What's the thing to eat out there?
Man, barbecue's real good down here,
Really?
in my opinion. Yeah, I like barbecue pork, brisket. They say brisket's more of a Texas thing, and that's kind of where I guess it's more known. But we got some good brisket here too. I love barbecue down here, and shoot, man, like biscuits and gravy, any sort of.
That's what I was waiting
Yeah,
for. The biscuits and gravy. That's what I was waiting
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good, like chicken fried steak and stuff like that, man. There's some good stuff that just
That sounds about right. Chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
That sounds about right for there.
it'll square you away real good. You'll be good for probably a day or two.
That and the moonshine.
Oh yeah, yeah, some good moonshine. My
Yeah,
uncle
go
Richard,
blind. Yeah, blinder, right?
yeah, he makes he makes all kinds of moonshine.
So, what are you working on now? What do you have planned over the next year, going on, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think for me, man, I've written so many songs, dude. Like the stuff that's out, like it doesn't even like it's not even scratching the surface
How
of the
many would
stuff
you
I've
say
written.
you have on a hard drive or done, completed and done?
I'll tell you that not completed and done. I've got a handful, but let me just pull this up real quick just to kind of like get like a quick.
Idea
I just
of
went
how
through
many
like
tracks?
songs the other day. I just went through songs the other day. This is a song list I made for like I want to cut like 2 or 3 EPs over the next year and a half. I'm gonna guess there's probably 70 songs on here,
Wow.
just that I'm like considering for those EPs.
Yeah. Now,
And so
how do you guys pick that? If you got 70 or even 100,
Right, I was
how
gonna
do
say.
you go about narrowing that down to 15, 20,
Yeah.
12? Like, how do you go about that?
I've always gone about it with just in my internal team, my wife, my manager, close friends, bouncing stuff off of them. You go in and cut stuff. A lot of times that'll kind of tell you. You'll have 2 songs, and the way they come out in the studio might tell you. I actually think I'm going to do something different uh, that I think could be really cool. I haven't announced it yet, so I'm not going to give the details, but it'll be basically like a subscription based model for diehard fans, and I'm going to let them pick the record. Like I'm going to play all these unreleased songs. You can only hear them on this platform, and you're going to be able to vote directly on which songs should make it which record, what the
That's
artwork's going to
cool.
be, what the album title is going to be, new songs I should write for all that stuff. It's going to be a really neat, smaller community thing, only again for just people who really want to be a part of the experience. Like, in studio footage, like of us cutting the songs when they pick them, so they can really have their hands on it and it can be theirs too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd love to see that.
I,
Just how the cut's done.
I was gonna ask that. So, like, I remember growing up. We used to go to the record store or buy CDs, cassette tapes, all that type of stuff. You had the album, right? And you'd have,
Yep.
you'd have your couple songs you liked in there, and then you're like, yeah, the rest of these songs are like whatever, but they're on the album.
Yeah, we had the
Like,
wall. You remember the wall?
Yeah,
Did
the
you guys have the wall?
Wall, and I can't remember the other name of the other one.
Did they have the wall out there? It was called the
What is the
wall.
wall?
Wall
Like
was
a
the place
record
that
store,
had,
yeah.
it was a record store that had all the CDs.
No.
No.
But
We
like,
had FYE and like
Oh yeah,
one
we had
other.
FIA,
Yeah.
right?
but so like
Yeah.
now with writing of songs and are there still albums technically, or are people buying out? Like, how does that work now?
I think in a lot of ways no, but I also think it depends on the artist, and I also think that things are starting to kind of like recycle. Like we're going in with a lot of vintage stuff. A lot of vintage stuff's coming back in. More traditional country music is starting to get more popular again.
Good.
That's good.
And like I've done the single thing for a while because for an artist, especially an independent artist where you're paying for everything yourself, you get more out of your money, so to speak, song at a time. So you can space it all out, right?
What
But
made
I'm
you
really
decide to go independent? What made you decide to do that
well,
versus going with a label that can
yeah, I
market?
mean, it really was just it wasn't even really necessarily a decision. It was just kind of like nobody was trying to sign me, and so I was like, okay, I got to do something. And just kept building and building and building, and I've talked to some labels here and there and all that, and um, it just kind of hasn't really gone that way for some
Might
reason.
be for the better.
Yeah,
Might be
I
for the
think so.
better. The guys that we've talked to that did sign, I think they probably a few of them wish they wanted to, because unless you got
Yeah.
like a microscope to look over every word with $20 million in lawyers,
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know. Remember, they're the big company.
Right.
there's a lot of red tape for sure.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Breaking news, Manscaped now sells beard products. That's right, they are once again revolutionizing men's grooming with brand new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. From a beard trim to a fresh shave, the technology behind Beard Hedger Pro Kit allows you to shave your signature beard look. Now you can finally use Manscaped products to make your drapes match your carpet by going to manscaped.com and using code MSCS Media for 20% off and free shipping. No one likes a weird beard, so say goodbye to all the stubble trouble with Manscaped's Pro Beard Kit. It all starts with the Beard Hedger. This thing is a monster of fixing faces. First off, this cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives you 20 hair cutting lengths, all with one guard. No more messing around in drawers, this color one, that color one, all with one guard. Plus, it's waterproof, so you can shave in the shower and avoid all that hair in the sink. The Pro Kit doesn't end there, though. First, there's the Beard Shampoo and Conditioner. You need to remember your hair is different. Next, Manscaped's Beard Oil. Cap it off with Beard Balm. The Pro Kit also comes with 3 different gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure your beard is ready to impress. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code MSCS Media at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code MSCS Media. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. But as I got older, started working out, I had to watch out for sugar and empty carbs. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you'll love, but high protein and less sugar. The variety pack, 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. This pack has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs. Only 140 calories per serving. It's high protein, 0 grams of sugar, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. The fruity one, I'm done for. I can eat the whole box, no problem. Go to magicspoon.com/MSCS to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use promo code MSCS at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That says something. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of high-protein cereal at magicspoon.com/MSCS and use the code MSCS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
It's you know, it has to be the right people, it has to be the right time, it has to be the right everything. I mean, so I'm always open to anything. I don't ever close doors anymore, because why? You know, you don't ever know what's going to happen. You don't ever know what God's got in store for you. But, you know, I'm very content doing it this way. I really am. I'm at a place in my life where it's, you know, it works for me. So.
And when you know you want to do a song, and you have the melody, you have the lyrics, you're ready to do it. How long does that take? Once you have all the pieces and you're ready to go do it, how long does that take then to put together, perfect, you know, mix? I never quite understand what they mean when they say mix, but I mean, I know they mix the vocals with the instrumental, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. As far as like how long it takes, if you were just to literally break down the time itself and put it all to smash it together, for one song, probably anywhere from 10 to 30 hours.
Whew.
You know,
yeah.
We talk about studio time, overdubs, mixing, tweaks on mixing, mastering, all that stuff, you know, vocals, all of it. So, yeah, usually you go in, you cut the song. People do it a lot of different ways now with a lot of the tracks and track guys and stuff in country music. It's much cheaper a lot of times. I still track things kind of the old-fashioned way, you know, real drums, all that. But I have that sound. That's more my sound, the more traditional sound. So I go in with a great band. I play on the songs on an acoustic, and we go in, we talk about, you know, if I'm working I've got a producer named Luke Wooten I've worked with, and other people I've worked with, done it myself. But we sit there, they'll play through the song, and go, hey, let's do a stop right here, or let's go up a half step, or hey, that electric guitar at the beginning, hold that till the chorus, or, you know, whatever. We're talking through it, and they're throwing out ideas, I'm throwing out ideas, whatever. And then you go from there, and you go to what's the overdub phase, which is where you have the bones there, everything's there, that's like kind of the nucleus. Now let's add like the flavorful, hooky stuff, the melodic stuff,
the catchy,
you know, yeah, like it just kind of make it a record, not just a track that we went in and tracked, like a record. Now, how do we polish this thing and really round it out with everything it needs? And so then you go in and have somebody mix it, and they're basically taking all those things, they're panning them to where they fill out the space. Like if you're listening to stereo, if everything's down the middle, it's just going to be one big wall of sound. So it's like you pan things so that it feels like it's
Left and right.
Full
immersive.
like surround
The vocals
sound.
in the center,
Yeah.
yeah, the vocals in the center, and you're adjusting the levels, the reverb, all making it sound like it's polished but not too polished. There's all these things you're trying to do to make it based on your sound that you're going for. So then once you get that dialed in, then you send it to mastering usually, and that's where they take it and they kind of make it like they put the final polish on it and make it really kind of rounder and bigger and
Crisp.
and more like,
It seems like
Yeah, like
crisp,
more-
right?
or like radio record ready, completely polished out, and just very balanced.
I never realized it was that many
There's
damn
a lot.
steps.
Yeah, audio engineers, man.
And,
Yeah.
and talking about guys go nuts. How about Mick Jagger and them out touring
Yeah,
like
he's
maniacs? Did you see
sex,
that?
drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
They're out touring 3 hours, man. How old are they?
80s.
80s?
Yeah.
80s, bad.
A lot of
Have
drugs.
y'all seen the line where it's like, we need to really start thinking about the world we're going to leave Keith Richards and Willie Nelson.
That might be true.
That might be pretty damn true. Yeah, you're lying, man.
Now, when you wrote, how old were you when you wrote the song "Son"? And how long did that take you? I mean, it's an emotional, your life story. How long did it take you to sit there and put the pen to the paper? I'm sure tears were shed. How long and how old were you when you wrote that song?
I would have been 30, 29 or 30. Trying to remember the exact. It was my oldest son was about 6 months old. So that would have been May, June, July, August, September, October of 2016. So yeah, I would have been I think 30. I would have just turned 30.
And how long did it take you to sit there and come up with it? Like, how many drafts were there, or it just all came out, just spewed out?
I think I'm an idiot. I think I just turned 29.
I don't know how old I am. Sometimes.
So,
Me neither.
yeah, I either just turned 29 or 30. But anyways, yeah, it was the core of it poured out pretty quickly. It was a write with one of my best friends, probably the person I've probably written the most songs with. We see things the same way. We're lunch pail writers. We really dig hard on stuff. We want it to be great. We're not there to write 20 mediocre songs. We're there to write 3 amazing songs. That's kind of how we think. So it's much easier when you get in the room with someone like that and you're not fighting that.
Right.
As soon as they say a line that works, you're just ready to move on. That's tough in a writing room. A lot of people, sometimes that I've written with, and a lot of them have written great songs, but it's just not the way I write. I like to really let's make sure that line's really great. Just because it rhymes and it works doesn't mean it's perfect. So we were sitting there and he had the idea, my world revolves around you. That's why I call you son. And I thought, dude, that's epic. And he's got 2 sons and a daughter, and so he knew it, he lived it, and then my story, I'd never talked about it, but being so close with my dad and now having a son that was 6 months old and feeling that love, it just kind of came pouring out. My story came pouring out, and I started telling him, and we were crafting these lines, and I was basically just saying my story, and it was pretty cool, man. And we got it to a pretty workable place that first day, and then we came in and just kind of really tightened it up over the next couple sessions and made it really perfect.
And you know what, the most amazing thing to me is, I mean, don't get me wrong, the tragedy you had to go through, and you're famous, because of the song, but that's something that your kid is gonna have for the rest of his life, like that song. And like, my dad wrote that song, my dad sung that song. Like, that's bigger than anything, I think.
No, 100%, man. I agree with you 100% on that.
How do you go about picking guests on tracks? If you have a song you feel it needs someone on, maybe a woman, guy. How do you go about that?
Well, I haven't done a ton of that, but the times I have, you kind of just go to your circle of people usually, or if there's really somebody that I'm like, man, this person would be so perfect, there's always somebody. It's a small town. Chances are someone that knows them. So you can usually get a hold of somebody and at least get a yes or no. So yeah, that's
Now,
usually the
when
way.
you moved from, when you went from the part of Tennessee where you grew up to Nashville, that's going from Mitch to Mitch. So what was, going to Nashville like when you got there?
Yeah, it was. People would be probably surprised to hear this, but very different in my opinion. Nashville, and even more so now, but it's a city. It's
Oh, it turned into a city downtown type thing. It's not the Nashville
yeah, yeah,
I
especially
know.
now. It used to be a little more quaint, but it was still a city. It was still like little things, man. Like you let someone over and they don't wave. And like back home, like we
Right.
waves, and there's hold the door and they say thank you, and
Hey.
everybody's like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of it's the South. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're welcome. You don't have to lock the door. Can
Yeah,
I
yeah,
borrow some bread?
Right.
I thought maybe
yeah.
that was still alive. Nope.
That was one of the first things I noticed, and that's funny because if a lot of people come here from like north or west or what, and they'll start saying, "Oh, people here are so nice," and I'm like, "Yeah, right." It's not like they're jerks or anything, but it's just like
Yeah.
I'm used to like that overly nice Southern hospitality. You know what I mean? Like not overly nice, no such thing as overly nice, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
very like, out of your way nice, and so it just like was the other direction for me. So that's one of the first things I noticed. But man, I just it did step my game up. There's so many talented people here, and I would go to writers' rounds and go listen to people, and I kind of was probably weird in the sense that I think maybe a lot of folks come and they think they're ready, and they're a little naive, and I was naive about a ton of things, but for some reason I kind of knew I wasn't ready. Like I knew I wasn't good enough, and so I really I grew a lot because I would go out knowing that and going, I want to go watch this guy because he's written these songs, and I'd hear him and go, God, I suck, and I'd go home and write the next best song I'd written.
That's awesome.
I'd go out again and go, I thought that song was good, but it actually sucks. And then I go home and write another one, and it would be even better, And I just kept just getting better and better and better and better, and eventually you do it enough, and you sharpen the end of that sword enough, and it starts to get decently sharp.
I would love, not that I ever want anyone to fail, but I would love to be that fly on the wall that kid who thinks he can sing country moves from New York, California.
To Tennessee.
He's going to Nashville. Yep. All right, buddy. Have fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the man in California, and he gets to Nashville.
I'll see you in a few weeks.
No, pal. Yeah.
I don't know. Nowadays, maybe. It's
Yeah, that's right nowadays. Back when I'm thinking now. You're going to be back in California.
Yeah, pop influences now much more than it used to be, so may have a better chance.
Yeah, but just keep doing what you're doing, man. Your lyrics are awesome.
Yeah.
Are really awesome. When do you think we'll get another single out or anything soon, or are you just going to wait until you go with the fans? And I really like that. Let the fans pick the cover of the song. That would be cool and very and engaging. And then Facebook can go jump off a cliff.
There you go.
Yep. So this year we toured a lot more than I ever have, and so I kind of have been in that space, and it's hard to, when you have 3 kids and a wife, like I come home, I have to balance that. So trying to get out and cut records in the middle of the week when I'm gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday a lot, it's a little much. So I'm going to get a break here in December. I'm going to slow down a little bit next year touring wise. We're still going to do a good bit of touring, but I'm going to slow down the first part of the year and really focus on getting the songs cut that I want to cut, creating that space that I was telling you guys about. And I'll announce kind of the platform and all that here soon. But just try to get those wheels turning so that I can get the songs narrowed down to go cut them, because it is a process. It takes time, it takes money. Which is, part of that subscription model. It's like when I say it's going to be partly theirs too, I mean literally, like they're going to help me fund it through that subscription. They're paying to subscribe to this exclusive channel. That money's going to then go to helping cut those songs. So they're going to have like a real part in doing this, and I think it'll be cool, hopefully, for the people who are really kind of big fans and really want to, be that close to it.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea to do.
Now, what's you said you were on tour, right? What's some of the favorite cities that you've been to while on tour?
Yeah, I was actually going to post tonight about that. I mean, really, and I say this honestly, like we've had some small crowds at new places we've never been, of course, like you'd expect. I'm not freaking Garth Brooks. I'm nowhere close. I'm not even a mid-level artist yet. Like I'm still like a baby. I'm trying to figure it out. But we're growing every time we go. We're growing a little bit. But every crowd, even the small ones, were really good. Really good, engaged, like just really excited to be there, which it feels good. As far as like just the really great crowds, man, Charlotte is always, God, they just show up for us every time, man. Like they're really great. They've treated us really well. Anytime I go back close to home, they usually treat us real well. Chattanooga area come out pretty good. Kentucky's always good. Trying to think.
And how do you keep your voice good? Is there any trick to the voice, like tea, mint tea, what's ginger tea?
Ginger.
No, all that stuff's
Bullshit.
really a myth.
Is it all bullshit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because if you
bullshit.
think about it, your vocal cords aren't where you drink; they're actually in your windpipe.
Right.
So it never actually touches your vocal cords.
Oh, that's
So like when it goes down the wrong pipe
Yeah.
and you cough,
yeah.
then it touches your vocal cords. When you're
Oh
hacking
wow.
Right.
So really, it's just keeping. Now it is important to stay like hydrated and stuff because what happens with your cords, if you're dried out and you're drinking alcohol and you're dried out or you're whatever, they're rubbing together with no. It's like a motor with no oil, right? It's
Squeaking or
Yeah, it's
grinding.
so it's good to stay like hydrated and eat good clean foods and all that. So that really helps me. But also just trying to sing properly, and don't over sing. Which a buddy of mine really knows the voice, and years ago he kind of taught me how to not sing too heavy where I'd hurt my cords.
What about
So
when you
that's
have a
all-
cold though? What about like when you got a stuffy nose or a little bit of a sore throat and you got a show and there's people that paid to see it?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no. I've
How do
done
you
it a
duck
bunch.
How do you get through that?
You just give it all you got till I mean at the
Turn
end
the bass
you
up, guy.
Yeah,
Turn the
yeah,
bass
yeah.
up.
you barely have a voice at the end, but you just find a way, Just
Yeah.
find a way. Hope you don't have a 3-show run that weekend.
Now,
Yeah.
now will you have?
Hope it's a 1 or 2.
Did you say you'll have a tour coming up next year? Is that what you early or later next year? Or how does that working?
Yeah, we'll definitely still tour like through the summer and
Right.
fall probably, and in spring too. We have some dates already booked and stuff, but I just don't want to be as like back to back to back to back to back as I was this year
Right.
because it just it's
like
hard to be.
It sounds like
creative.
a guinea pig on a cage in a circle, just going like that because you're on tour the 3 days, then you come back, you got to spend time with the family, but then you're cut and making, head pop off.
Will you be in the
Yes.
South Florida area? Maybe. No. Yes.
It's for some reason we've never played in Florida. Like I haven't by myself.
Well, now you got a good reason.
Yeah, we got to get
I
you
know,
down
man.
here, man.
I know people ask, and I need to figure out a venue down there that will work. I can't, having not really played down there much. Again, it's going to be a newer, so I
Right.
got to find a venue that's like it makes sense financially where we can make enough, but they can also because we're not going to sell probably a ton of tickets, so we got to find that balance, where you can make it make sense. So
As
hopefully we
you
will.
as you get the dates in, shoot us an email. We'll
Yeah,
constantly
we'll put 'em
update the podcast, the channels so that everybody can always come back and check the dates that you have scheduled then.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, man. You come to South Florida, you better swing by in here.
Yeah. I will.
If we don't have to do
Yeah.
stupid Zoom.
And I have to say, and I know
Exactly.
I said this already
Thank
to
you,
you,
man. I
but
appreciate
your song, man, like just what you said, and you could tell we have a lot of guests on this show. Stuff comes from your heart, and what you said there really caught me when you said about that song and the people like reaching out to you that it saved my life, or I talked to my dad. Like I just can't even imagine that. Like just think about that. Like if you hate, people get in arguments with their parents and they haven't talked to their dad, they listen to your song and now they called their dad. Like I can't even imagine hearing that.
That's huge.
Yeah,
And
it's
rebuild a relationship and have a dad again or have a son again or a daughter again or a father again, mother, whatever it may be.
And last question from me, I just thought. So I told you I grew up with country music, hated it. Then I got into it. Garth Brooks, huge Rascal Flatts fan, love the Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
Dan and Shay now, Jelly Roll. So I'm cranking out to Jelly Roll. What are your thoughts on Jelly Roll? Honestly, do you? He's different, right? And he looks different, and he is different. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, man, honestly, I don't even know if I can weigh in because I just don't. And it's not because I like, oh, I'm anti. I just am so out of the loop with new stuff. I haven't even listened really to any of his stuff. I've heard it in passing, and it
Right.
sounded good when I heard. And but the things I've heard about him is that he's a great dude. So I mean, that's always what I go off of. I mean, I may not. There's guys in town, artists that I just like musically. I'm like, I can't. I'm not saying he's one of them. I'm just
Right.
saying in general.
Right,
Right.
right.
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I haven't listened enough, but there's guys where I'm like, I just can't. Like, it's not for me. I can't listen.
Right.
But I know enough people that know him, and they're like, man, he's good. And I'm like, heck yeah, kill it, man. Like, get after it. Like, it's great. I don't want to see anybody, do badly. Like, I want to see people win. And if you're working hard and you're achieving your dreams, like, man, awesome. Like, I love that for you. I just, I can separate the two. Just because I don't like your music or whatever, it doesn't mean it's like a personal.
Right.
I still pulling for you. I just don't. I can't lie to myself and go, man, this music's really moving me or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's subjective, right? It's subjective.
And everybody has gotten so personal.
It
Like,
is.
like just because I don't like your song doesn't mean I don't like you.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's like I know there's people that are not gonna like my music. That's fine.
Right.
It's fine. I don't care. It's fine. It's not for everybody. But it's when people make it like you've never met me and you're like, oh, you say something negative. You're like, dude, how do you've never even met me?
know me. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
And then you
It's that social media, boy.
last two questions, I promise. So, give me your favorite Garth Brooks song of all time,
Good luck
and
with
then
that.
give me. I know. That's good. Your top Garth Brooks song of all time, and then give me like maybe 2 or 3 of your favorite country songs. I threw a lot at you there. I know.
I don't know how you pick one Garth Brooks.
if I have to pick one Garth Brooks song, and again, it's just me having to pick one, I would probably say Allison Miranda.
Okay. I like the dance. I go the dance.
Okay. Allison Miranda is on the Lost Sessions, and I don't know. I just always come back to it. I don't know. I just love it.
And then what other 2 songs, not Garth Brooks related, even just general songs that you're just like, man, I love that song.
My goodness.
A lot.
Man.
There's a lot. There's a lot of country songs over the years.
For me, it's always You Had Me From Hello, and when I heard Tim McGraw with Nelly.
Oh my God, the Tim McGraw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Those 2 stick in my head over and over again.
Yeah.
That one and You Had Me From Hello. Those are the 2 that always stick in my head. What's in your head? You thought of one?
There's one I could say for sure is Everything That Glitters by Dan Seals. Probably don't know
I
it.
heard that one. Yeah, I'll write that.
You can go on my Instagram if you get time after this, and go to.
Yeah, we'll pop it. We're gonna pop it up on here too.
Yeah, like
So-
when you see the podcast, you'll see your Instagram up and everything.
The ninth post down. It's like 2 over from our Halloween picture. So
Okay.
it's me on a stage. It's me singing that song. So you can check it out.
All right.
Okay.
Man, the second one I don't even know. Everybody always asks like what's one, and I always go with that one because
I know. It's hard. Listen.
I have to pick. Golly. I mean, a Garth song would probably be up there, honestly, because I mean he's my favorite artist. So like maybe Allison Miranda, but also I love last time I saw her, it was turning colder. Golly, my brain. Yeah, you guys can't catch me in the evening.
That's
man. I
all
got
right.
3 kids.
That's all right.
I'm mushed by this time of day.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Man, we appreciate your time.
I appreciate any time with you, man. I love to learn and talk to you. I really wanted to know about the earphone thing.
Yeah.
The thing,
Oh, yeah.
because I always see him rip it out, put it back in, rip it out, put it back
yeah,
in.
yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is actually coming through there?
Now I got one more. I know. I said one more question 5 times already. Have you ever been on stage and you're playing the guitar and the string just snaps?
Oh,
Have you ever
yeah.
had that? What do you do?
that's a good question here, Rob.
So, I haven't had that happen. Man, in like 6 or 7 years. No joke.
Now I
Happen next
jinxed
week.
you. Now I jinxed you.
Now you're jinxed,
But-
man. You're jinxed.
No, literally, it just happened in West Virginia like
Oh shit.
a month or so ago. And I think it's because we were outside, and the change of temperature and all that can kind of mess with the guitar sometimes. And the string broke, and you're just like, I had to like borrow my guitar players while he went and changed mine, and I just did some acoustic, by myself.
Oh my god.
And he brought mine back, and then he, whatever. So it's like you just figure it out, I'm not. Hopefully, I get to a place where I have a guitar tech, and he'll just hand me a new guitar, and I'll just keep on
Yeah,
rolling.
you got a guy right there for you. And,
Yeah.
until then, I guess you could make a joke out of it, right? I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know. What do you do at that point?
Right.
I think I found that like, it's always nerve wracking. Like you're worried about forgetting words or you're this or that, but I usually settle in because it's like, at the end of the day, it's gonna happen. I'm human,
Right.
and no one out there expects you to not be human.
Right.
We think that they do. We think they want us to be perfect. They don't. They know that things happen, and so if you just treat it that way and you just go, "Oh, y'all, I'm an idiot. Can we start that over?"
Right.
They're just gonna start cheering, going, "Yeah, sure." They don't, because it's like I'm not a robot.
And,
So I think,
and
it's
it
gotta
takes
roll.
like the stage and the lights. It takes all that away in a way, because then you're like everybody else. Like, you dropped a drink, you dropped this, guitar broke. Who cares? Keep going.
Yeah, that's always how I've tried to approach it. Even when I'm on stage, the way I talk, it's like a big living room. Like we're just people. It's just hang
Just
out.
like a bunch of people hanging out. That's what we try to do here. Just like nothing like in particular. Just talk, get to know about each other, and learn.
What what's Mitch's Mount Rushmore of country music singers? What's his Mount Rushmore? Garth's on there. We know that, right?
Yeah, Garth is on there. Don Williams is on there. Oh man,
I'm hitting you hard, man. I'm hitting you hard.
Gar. Those are good. That's a good one.
Yours.
I
not-
mean,
yeah, just yours.
yeah. Okay, so mine. I mean, I would say, golly, because like if you're talking singers, like.
Yeah, because I mean, a performer, they could go through performer, right? Some guys are better performers, singers. There's a songwriter.
You saying like just all around, like the Mount
yeah,
Rushmore?
yeah, I guess.
That's-
Yeah.
Okay, so then I'll say Garth, Don Williams. I'm gonna go McGraw, man. Like,
Yeah.
how do you
Wow.
argue with
Yeah.
the length of career and the amount of great songs that
Right.
guy's had?
Right.
And same thing, George Strait. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you
George
not?
Strait.
I like George
Everybody.
Strait.
I forgot about George Strait.
No, I agree
yeah.
with George Strait. I agree with that.
For me, like obviously, like Haggard, I'm a fan. Hank Williams Sr., I'm a fan. Like you could argue all those, but for me and like where I'm with my age and what I grew up on and like the biggest influences on me, that would be.
I'm gonna on the way out of here. I'm gonna have Tommy listen to some Hank Williams Jr. So we're gonna blare out to some Hank Williams Jr. He's gonna rock his world with that one.
Hank Jr. is the man,
Yes,
but Hank Sr., dude.
yeah, Hank.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
huh?
Right.
I want to know.
Oh, man.
I want to know one thing. Who is the best country performer? Forget about the song, the audio, just the
Just how they
performance in
perform.
general, like moving around, crazy.
That's
what-
easy. That's easy.
Yeah.
Garth is.
Yeah, still.
there's-
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Good
no
for
one
him,
close.
man. Good for him.
Yeah, he makes a lot of like other big artists I've seen show like kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, like
Yeah. That's
You
all.
watch
Sing
Garth,
it
it's
to-
like
he's up
yeah,
there,
it's
man.
hard to beat.
All right, man. Thank you for your time, and make sure you send all those dates of the tour. We'll have everything in the description. When this comes out, everything you'll see in post. But thank you again, Mitch, and you're doing a great thing, and keep at it. And congratulations to all your success.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Great talking to y'all, and thanks for the great questions. And yeah, let's stay in touch. Hopefully, just meet you guys in person one day.
Yeah, you got to get down to South Florida, buddy.
Get that tour down here.
All right,
That's
man.
right.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks.
This is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. It's the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster Energy.